episode of Fares and Frustrations, where we talk about everything Uber, Lyft, if you want to try to be a rideshare driver. I'm Matt.
And I'm your host, Mike.
And we are at Classic Cuts.
Right here off Blandon Boulevard. It's 1339 Blandon Boulevard, Classic Cuts. We want to thank them. This is a paid promotion, and we want to thank them for letting us film here. Also, if you want to come in, you can see Jasmine. She's got the link will be on the screen right there. It'll be a QR code. Just scan it, sends her to her app. All first-time clients, your first cut, you get 50% off. I've been coming to her for a while. It's a great hairstyle. It's a great cut. I mean, I even drive pretty far to come here because she does such a good job.
Something like 30 minutes, though.
Yeah,
drive
definitely.
30 minutes.
But hey, it's worth it if you're going to get a good haircut. So I want to thank her and thank Classic Cuts for letting us film here. And go ahead and start with our episode today. We want to thank you guys for joining us again. And what do you want to talk about today?
Well, first of all, make sure you like, share, and comment. It helps us get the views and helps us build everything up and get this thing going. I think we're going to talk about let's make some money. And how do you think we're going to make money?
We'll do customer service.
Ding, ding, ding. Customer service is exactly right. And what's the first thing that comes to your head when you think customer service and doing Uber, Mike?
Being good with your clients, looking out for them, stopping if they need to stop, they want to add a stop, kind of catering to them just like you would anywhere else. So they say, hey, can I add a stop? Sure, no problem. Hey, I'll be out in 5 minutes, no problem, because I've gotten a lot of people that I picked up that were picked up from work, right, and they would order the ride, and maybe I just turned on, so I was like a minute away instead of 10 minutes away, right, so they're clocking out in like 5 minutes, so I get there, and they're like, oh, you got here earlier, and I thought you were, because what it said, I'm not ready yet, I got to clock out. I'm like, sure, no problem, I'll wait. And then they get in the car and they're like, oh, thank you for waiting. And I'm like, why? Other people don't wait? They're like, no, they'll just cancel the ride saying I shouldn't have ordered the Uber if I wasn't ready. But you got to look from their perspective is they've been working all day for like 8 hours, 10 hours. They can't just quit like we can because we can just quit whenever. I can drop you off and then just go offline and go home. But they can't. They got to work a certain amount of hours to get paid, unless they get cut or wherever they're working at. So when you're done working with all that time, you want to go home as soon as you can. And then just because they don't have a car, they need a ride for whatever reason, that's not their fault. So waiting a couple minutes is not a big deal. At least in my opinion, it's not a big deal. I don't care. I mean, where else do I have to go? I'll go pick up somebody else. So it's not I'm just going to waste gas trying to drive somewhere else, pick somebody else up if I cancel that ride. Mm-hmm. So why not wait? It does charge them after 3 minutes. It's not a whole lot of money, but it's just a little bit extra. And those people probably will tip you. I mean, most of them will because they're like, oh, thank you so much. And they appreciate it. And if they have the money, they're going to tip you because you waited, you catered to them. I mean, that makes a huge difference.
So number one would be friendly service. And also, you want to adapt to your rider. Sometimes the riders come in and they don't want to talk. Yeah. You'll get that feeling, so don't talk.
Yeah, you know how to read
do your service as friendly as possible. I mean, it's the same thing with any customer service job you do.
That's like the comfort, like we talked about last episode with the comfort is when you do the comfort rides, they can add the preferences. Sometimes that makes it easier because they can say quiet preferred or I'm open to chat and all that stuff. But like you say, when it comes to regular rides and you kind of read that person, maybe they get in the car, they're on the phone. So you just be quiet. And I've seen online where the drivers complain about, well, why are they on their phone in my car? Who cares? You're driving. They can do whatever they want. That's why they ordered the ride. If they're doing homework, if they're on their laptop. I've had a guy picked up that was working on a presentation. He was coming from the airport, going to a hotel. He's speaking in a conference. He's like, put all his headphones. He's sitting there working. No big deal. I got the music playing or I don't have it playing, but some people want to talk, some people don't, but you have to, sometimes I don't really want to talk, but at the same time, I got to kind of push that to the side and make those people feel comfortable. Because if you don't talk and they're wanting to talk and you're just all quiet, it kind of makes it awkward. And then they might leave you a bad rating. They definitely probably aren't going to tip you.
Number two, I would say make sure your car is spotless.
Yeah.
And it really helps if it smells good because I've had riders actually ride and say, oh, wow, your car smells so good.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing I try to do is have my car smell good and always vacuum. Mike, you share what you usually do after every 3 or 4 rides.
Yeah, I got a little handheld vacuum and, especially if it's raining. And I mean, there's some times where you can't look back there. You don't have time and it might get a little bit dirty, but as long as you try and you maintain it and keep it clean, people, that goes a long way, because I get a lot of compliments like that too from people. And what I tell them too is, I'm like, hey, I wouldn't want to get in a dirty car, so why would I expect you to get in a dirty car? You know, and it's the same way with washing your car. I wash my car every single day. I mean, my neighbors walk by and they joke with me about, oh, you're going to wash the paint off that car. And I'm like, well, you know, I do Uber. I'm got to keep the car clean. You think I want to wash the car every day? Not really. I can't go through a car wash because I got sign on the top. So, you know.
One thing I want to touch on this, because it might ruffle a few feathers, is the one thing as an Uber driver, and I say this specifically as a Uber driver, I cannot stand marijuana smoke that smells when you get in the car. I don't care if you cheat, but when you go and that smell sticks, and I think you have a story about this. The next customer you pick up is going to say something about it, and they sometimes think it's you. Don't you have a story about that?
No, I mean, I've never had that happen. I've heard people told me about that, and because my issue, I can't really smell that. My nose messed up, so I couldn't tell. You could be smoking right next to me, I wouldn't smell it. But I can understand that, because people get in that car and they smell like it. It could linger, and the same way with cigarettes. Like, you know, I see a lot of drivers smoking cigarettes, and I mean, it's your car and it's your body. You could smoke whatever you want, but you got to think, when you're doing this, you got to think of the passengers. And so some of those passengers, they don't want to smell the cigarette smoke. They don't smoke, so they don't want to get in your car and it smells like a cigarette.
And I'm going to say the one solution I found to get, because that smell, if you got some good weed, that smell's going to be sticking around for a while.
Definitely, yeah.
But so I kind of found a solution is get a bag of Tide Pods, and just, if you have that, just open it up and let it breathe, and it kind of gets rid of that almost quite immediately.
I mean, I got an air freshener.
That doesn't. I'm telling you, none of that works.
But you know, that's another issue too. Is not even with that. Is I've had the issue with somebody spill a drink and they had like alcoholic drink, and I didn't even know they had it. I mean, I'm not saying like they get in the car, they open a Coke or something. I don't really care. Some people might, but I don't always know if they have one in their house. I'm not really paying attention. So, but I did have somebody one time with an alcoholic drink, and they spilt it. So then the car smelled like alcohol, and I'm like, great, you know, because I don't need somebody to get in the car and think I'm driving around drunk, or you know, I've been drinking or anything.
And
like
you will
that.
have those riders that will ride in and say, "Oh, this."
They're usually just trying to get a free ride. So you know, I got the dash cam, so that's kind of back up the story. They could see it, but that doesn't mean I didn't stop ahead. And you know, so if they complain about that, trying to fight with Uber about it can be quite complicated just because they're trying to get a free ride. I haven't really had that happen to me, but I've heard the stories. But I've had the drinks get spilled, and I smelt it, but luckily I was able to kind of get it out. It's just kind of, I had little mats down, so I just kind of just went by the house real quick, threw the mats in the house, and just kind of vacuumed and kind of sprayed and tried to make it, you know, a little bit better. I mean, I couldn't really tell if it was. I just knew because what they had and where they came from. I mean, it was just, they left the drink cup, and I mean, I don't know. Because they were wasted when they got in the car. So I'm like, I know it's got to be alcohol. And I was like, great. So I had to.
So let's see here. So number 1 is friendly service. 2 is a clean car. I would say number 3 is having extra, going above and beyond, like maybe having bottles of water. Or, you know, you see some Uber drivers, they have tons of candy and chips, and they're selling them. And I wouldn't sell anything. I would just have a couple bottles of water, if anything.
Let's see. I did that,
just to give them.
But I did that in the beginning, and I think that's kind of one of those things where it's kind of up in the air because, well, first off, you got a cooler in your car to do it, and it's probably more so in the winter or in the summertime, especially being in Florida. Is, you know, you're dealing with airports or people, whatever, they might have luggage. That takes up a lot of space. And then 2, I mean, you're spending money buying water and you're giving it to people. And when I kind of did it, I didn't really notice that the people I gave the water to really tipped me anything. So I was kind of like, I don't even know if it's counterproductive or if it's productive, if it's even working or not. A lot of people would take it. I mean, who wouldn't? But one thing I did have though was, and this is how I kind of started, was I was working at Bonefish, and they gave me free Bang Bang shrimp cards, and these things are like $15 appetizers, but it's a promotional
good
product.
idea.
So I went and passed them out to passengers. Now they were kind of giving me tips, but then again, that was still kind of up in the air. But it kind of made me stand out from other drivers. So I'm like, you just paid how much for this ride? You got in a ride, and now you got a $15 appetizer. And I actually went to some of the other bars.
That's a good idea.
I went to some of the bars around there and asked them, so you got any drink cards? Because I drop everybody off. Now, half of them thought I was trying to scam out of free drinks, and then the other half either didn't have any made, and then some of them did give me some. But, I mean, I didn't always get to talk to the right person. The bartenders are like, yeah, this guy's just trying to scam me for drinks. I'm like, look, I don't have time to drink. I'm here picking up the people that are drinking. I'm trying to make money, not spend money. So that's why I'm out here driving and dropping people off. I can drive business to your restaurant by giving them free drinks. Who wouldn't want to start there? But not everybody sees it that way. But that was one of the things that I kind of helped with the tips. The water, I just kind of up in the air about it just because of the space. I mean, I think too, like I've seen where they had like chips and all that. It kind of sometimes you kind of bombard people with too much stuff when all they just really want is a ride.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to get home, or I'm trying to get to work, or I'm just trying to get to my car. That's kind of what it is. But at the same time, like I got an Uber one time. Dude had a TV in it. That was kind of cool. Like he had a band.
I got the octopus.
Yeah, but
it's
this
not
was
the
a
same.
TV
Yeah.
though. I was like, I mean, it was playing. Like, I don't remember what it was playing, but I was like, I don't know how he hooked it up, but it was because I mean, even though I drive for Uber, I still take an Uber. I've had to, and there's times when you might still use it, and it's good. Sometimes I like it because I get to see how other people do, and kind of get an idea. Maybe they're doing something that I could do because, like Uber doesn't really train you. So when you get into other cars, you get to kind of see little tips and tricks other people do because there's all kinds of different things you can do to kind of stand out.
And we'll probably touch that on another episode.
And if you do have anything like that, if you're a driver, leave it in the comments because we'd like to talk about it. Because I mean, look, I don't claim to know everything. I got experience now. I've done like 2,000 trips, but I can always learn something new, and I'm always up for learning something new because if it's going to help me make some more money, and it's not anything that's going to get me in trouble, I got no problem doing it.
Yep.
So if you got a tip or something like that, leave it for us because we definitely would like to. I'd like to
questions
see it.
questions.
Yeah, or a question. Yeah.
So to wrap this one up, we got 3 points that that might help you make some money, and that's friendly service, clean car, and maybe think outside the box and a little bit of extra. Like you said, the free shrimp, was it free shrimp?
Bang Bang shrimp.
Yeah, Bang shrimp.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to take off here, and we hope to see you next time.
Yeah, hopefully see you on our next trip.